How does one overcome the ego? Self. The ego is one's perception of self. How do you see yourself? Who are you? These are questions that lie within this realm of understanding. How we see ourselves is important because we operate in this world through truth. I, me, my, and myself are used as references to our first person localized experience. What ends up happening, however, is that we can believe the rhetoric we hear about ourselves and operate solely through that perceived truth. This can create a closed loop where we cycle through these perceptions without much room or any room for change. Our agreements of truth are powerful because they lead us to create the lives that we live. If I believe that I am a weak person, I will more than likely live and make decisions through that lens. The ego is a symptom/element of the mind. This means it can take shape in an infinite amount of ways. It also means it is illusory and is difficult to catch or see. The more you change, the more the ego adapts. One's perception of self is not concrete. It is constantly evolving over the course of one's life. Your sense of self is important because having a healthy perception will align you with healthier and life-supporting decisions. The ego likes to be the star of the show. It enjoys validation either through external validation from others, through thought patterns, habitual actions, etc. It seeks to be fed and is never satisfied. This can look like receiving praise or hateful remarks, depending on how the person sees themselves. The type of thoughts, feelings, actions, and effects from others will vary. We can become slaves to egotistical cycles without realizing. We can get carried away from what we truly want, who we authentically are, and where we are actually at in life if blinded by the ego. The ego is Latin for I. Pride is often associated with the ego. If we are making decisions based on who we think we are, it can lead to poor outcomes. The ego likes to justify itself. It seeks to be right more than understand. Overcoming this is important to living a more fulfilling life. How do we overcome it though, if it isn't tangible? We have to first realize we are not who we think we are. We have to ask ourselves questions about why we do the things we do. Meditation is key because this process involves sitting still and observing our thoughts. We then have to learn how to observe our emotions and actions. Much of our experience is through cause and effect. The saying, everything happens for a reason, exemplifies this. What causes you to feel and act the way you do? What does your mind tend to focus on? The ego is a crafty, multifaceted element that adapts to your understanding. We must constantly be vigilant because it is always there for as long as we live. Being open-minded is key in reclaiming yourself, but not for other people's validation or to gratify yourself for quote-unquote making change, but to expand your understanding of yourself and the life around you. Know that I and any other letter or word are only symbols. They have no inherent meaning except for the ones we give them. We are not I. It is only a reference to our local selves. We often hear we have to kill the ego. Killing it doesn't mean actual murder. Psychologically, you are removing the veil of who you think you are and allowing yourself to make a conscious decision that actually aligns with you moment to moment. The ego never dies completely, but merely transforms. It is actually a powerful tool in navigating the world and gives us a way to relate to others. Overcoming the ego or yourself is really about stepping into who you are through acknowledgement and discernment of personal and objective truth from fiction. The ego often stems from fear and seeks to have meaning to itself, so it will find anything, whether a thought, person, action, belief, place, or hobby to root itself in. It operates similarly to a virus. To really overcome the ego, we have to understand it, which is something it doesn't do. This requires humility, an open heart, and willingness to change and go through uncertainty. You are actively deconstructing the fabrication of your identity to get to the essence of who you are. This can be quite scary. It will take time and you may lose a lot of what you may currently cherish. This, however, will lead you to living in a way far more valuable than you could have ever experienced or imagined.